Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of April 14, 2024. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boy, is this a very special time, and it truly is special. We have a big celestial event set to take place this week as part of a month that has hugely important celestial events that stand out, certainly over the course of the year, but even where it comes to the decade. That is how rare a time we are in. I told you this last week as well, because it was last week that we had a total solar eclipse. Now, total solar eclipses happen about once every 2 to 3 years, but that solar eclipse that we're just coming off the heels of, well, that one was exact to the minute, hand in hand with Chiron. Lots of vulnerability coming to the surface with that. This week has a whole other vibe, but also incredibly rare energy playing out. And that is the divine meeting of Jupiter and Uranus. This takes place about once every 15 years or so, give or take a year on either side, depending on the cycle. And now here we are. These two planets getting together represents a peak moment, not just of the year, but also of the decade, a defining turning point for a lot of us out there. It is going to be in the sign of Taurus that these two planets are getting together, and they promise inspiration, but also breakthrough, new ideas, new perspectives, but also a new hope that feels real, that is tangible, that is showing up in ways that we know we can build towards more and more of that hope that can change things for the better. Now, this sense of what could change very quickly, it's almost like fresh waters coming in that feel as if they bathe us clean. There is a reason that in so many spiritual traditions that I have come across, there's this understanding of water cleansing the past. Water being the force that helps you to release whom it is that you were in favor of now where it is that you are beginning again, where it is that you are now on a brand new pathway, becoming something else, becoming something more. The solar eclipse was a powerful beginning in that process, in that it helped us to understand what wounds might have kept us where it is that we were, and where now we feel ready, a sense of the energy shifting so that we do move beyond those things that hurt us in the past. But what we are moving towards, that's what starts to become that much more clear now and in an instant. And that really is key here. It becomes really important to stay open to prospects and possibilities and inspirations at this time, because within that, especially on the lead up to this divine conjunction at the end of the week, well, it's in those days that we may feel that sense of newness, that sense of excitement, that sense of being ready to embody something more, something better than we were before. Now, when I say tangible, what I mean is manifesting something different, a different version of ourselves. Consider this. Last week's total solar eclipse happened in the first sign of the zodiac, that is the sign of Aries. And it is here that we, metaphorically, archetypally, take our first breath. This is the force of life that we connect to, and that part of us that knows that there's something within us that we can trust and hold on to, that is a force of the will of life itself. And what that means, what does it mean to actually live, but not necessarily live fully? The two actually do go hand in hand, but that spark of life, that very beginning, is what the eclipse promised. As we get this powerful activation in the second sign of the zodiac, it is almost as if we, in our own individual journeys, are taking a step forward as well. And in taking that step forward, we move beyond just survival and immediacy. And now we start to look at what we value. in our lives, but certainly within ourselves as well. What is it that we feel? A genuine sense of self-esteem and self-love. What does healthy self-love look like for us? How does it show up in real ways through actions and through behaviors? It is here that we start to look at where it is that we can believe in the spark so that we translate that into action, so that we are diligently moving towards those things that we may desire to experience, certainly, but also to have. And what is it that's worth having, but also what is it that maybe no longer is? Those things that we held on to so tightly that we thought were going to be there forever, in an instant, we may realize they just don't have value to us anymore. As we decide that we're going to move towards something else, a new sense of self has already begun to emerge, and now we start to move that sense of self to different areas of life. Now, the energy of Taurus has to do with money you earn, money you spend as a larger principle. And that's why it's also associated with the economy as well. If you think about it, outside the New York Stock Exchange, very famously, there is the bronze statue of a bull, which is the perfect symbol, the Taurian symbol, if you will, representing the economy. Now, interestingly, more recently, there was another bronze statue put into place of a little girl sort of facing down that bull. And the artist of the bull statue really didn't like this, said that it changes the meaning of what the bull was meant to represent. But I think that that visual can speak so strongly to how we understand what's playing out for us right now in so many ways, but certainly in the context of coming off the heels of that eclipse. The eclipse in the first sign of the zodiac, that also has to do with childhood. Think about what that little girl represents. That is a stance of bravery. But then here comes the bull of Taurus, and it's about what are you going to show for it? Have your sense of courage, which is great. All of us, in at least one way now, are tapping into that spirit, but how is it now that we're going to more fully embody that? And what does that look like to us individually as part of our unique journeys? It is widely said that each of us is fighting a quiet battle. And some of that you might never know. And I'm very much of the belief that you just don't know what's inside another person. You don't know what it is that they have yet to become. And that is also true of ourselves. We have yet to know what it is that we have yet to become as well. But a part of the reward, a part of how the sky now is speaking to these huge leaps forward is that very realization. Whom it is that we have yet to be, we might just get a glimpse, but there might also be real opportunity here that shows up for us. In our own ways, we are invited to embody that little girl, but also to consider our relationship with the bull itself, our relationship to the practical matters of life, and where that relationship changes based on the energy that we bring to a given moment. In Buddhism, there are 4 noble truths as taught to us by the Buddha. The first noble truth is that life is suffering. The second is that it is attachment and desire that is the cause of suffering. The third is that suffering ends when we release ourselves of attachment and desire. And the fourth noble truth is that it is the eightfold path that shows us the way towards liberation from suffering. It is this energy in the sign of Taurus that will help us to understand what it is that we might be overly attached to the point where it is facilitating suffering for us in some way or another. There are some things that I would say are healthy to be attached to, and this goes to the energy of the eclipse in Aries, the life force, the fact that you exist, the fact that you're embodied, the fact that you are in this lifetime means that you have more to do in this lifetime. And taking care of yourself to the best of your ability without any judgment from anyone else and certainly from you. but being present as much as possible is how it is that you make the most of this life. Faith, even during times that are challenging, that are difficult, helps us to move through those very times so that we can therefore have another chance, another moment at the possibility of liberation. A few days ago, I recorded an interview with Jesse Innocent. That'll be posting a little bit later, likely this week, so be on the lookout for that. Jesse is coming to Synchronicity University as part of the May 2024 speaker series. You can wait to the later part of this video where I tell you more about that. Jesse is an astrologer who considers himself a karmic astrologer, and he's very interested in helping people to understand their karmic path, their karmic lessons, exploring what steps you might have missed in previous lives as part of your soul's evolution, and participating in that more fully is one of the tools that astrology provides, according to him. And he said something really interesting. He said, what's the point of not being in this life, not being fully engaged in this life, because it's karma. And one way or another, one lifetime or another, I'm going to have to deal with it. I'm going to have to show up for it. And so there's no escaping it. There's only working through it. I think that part of the work is the preparation for moments of liberation. And the preparation for that is to look at what our karmic learning is, where it is that we might have a sense of uncertainty, over attachment, over desire, where it is that we might be creating more pain for ourselves. And as part of being able to see that, right, and understand it and examine it, that has its value. That's why I'm a big proponent of therapy, for example. There is a lot to be said for taking what otherwise is an energy, an emotion of fear, and having it rise from the lower chakras to your mind, to the intellect, and giving it voice, and how that transforms what it is that's felt is quite powerful to consider. But there are times when you've done the work, you've done the talking, you've said everything that needs to be said, and now it's as if, having done the preparation, you are ripe for an epiphany, a breakthrough, or a new beginning. And that's part of what this energy is promising us. Now, ultimately, that new beginning is about releasing regret of the past or fear of the future. That is true freedom. It is by being truly present for our lives, within our bodies, with our breath itself, as taught to us by the Buddha, that in the midst of that, we may find moments of liberation. And the more we're willing to sit with the present moment, with breath itself, well, that's where that doorway to liberation grows wider. That's when those moments of liberation feel that much more extended, until we get to the point where it feels like we live our lives in that freedom, in that sense of lightness of being. It is by engaging your karmic lessons, moving through them, but then knowing that they no longer control you, that they are healed on a soul level, that you really find true freedom and a new happiness than you knew before. I know that that sounds lofty. That sounds like a big promise, but there are going to be a lot of us who may find the realization of this promise very quickly and in an instant. So yes, the conjunction itself is a really big deal, but there's something else happening that I think is so remarkable. It will be on Friday that we have several huge celestial events taking place that are going to help us to make the most of that conjunction, which takes place on Saturday. Huge celestial environment here. I'm going to start with the fact that first we will have early in the day in the Americas, later in the day in the rest of the world. On Friday, Mercury meeting Venus in the sky. This is happening in the sign of Aries. This is that moment of clarity. This is mind and body connecting, mind and heart connecting. This is that sense of giving voice so that what was an emotion transforms and it shifts. But then we get later in the day, and it is in the Americas that This energy I'm about to describe happens on Friday, but Saturday in the rest of the world, it is Mars that is going to reach out in harmony with Uranus and with Jupiter. And it's this build up towards this sextile that is going to ensure that the conjunction is not likely to be just an isolated event just on Saturday, but that we'll feel it coming, and we may very well have our breakthrough on the lead up. And it is in the midst of that breakthrough that we are empowered that much more. Our own actions help magnify the potential and promise of the leap into a more liberating and more exciting future that is promised because of the conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus. Mars in the sign of Pisces. A very spiritual energy, an energy of healthy karmic closures. So to me, this is about you having done the work in a real sense. You felt everything you need to feel. And now here comes something good as a result. Here comes the outcomes that you were hoping for, the new beginning that you wanted. There is going to be an element of, for a lot of people, better than what you expected, something that you didn't know you wanted until it showed up, feeling delighted by what it is that shows up. However, it is also this energy that speaks so powerfully to a depth of understanding as to where it is that you are now different, and that what is coming forward for you now is different because of the difference that you know yourself to be. Leaps forward, healing karma, we can say it's in an instant, but chances are it's a long time coming. In the midst of all this jam-packed energy, also on Friday, the sun moves into the sign of Taurus. Happy birthday to all the Taurians out there. And this magnifies that sense of presence, of our reality becoming something more than it was before. But I want you to take something else into consideration as well. It is going to be next week, early next week, that we have a full moon taking place. And that full moon is in the sign of Scorpio. The sun is going to square Pluto, which means the moon is squaring Pluto. So there's this really intense, kind of frustrating energy that's going to magnify immediately after we have this divine conjunction taking place. And so what this suggests to me is, and the reason I bring it up now is that we may have our breakthrough. We may have a sense of new possibilities arising for us, but then there also might be a part of us that feels or is making it more complicated than it needs to be, or feels the weight of change. You've had the clarity, you've had this progress, but now the real work begins. The real work of whether it's understanding yourself or that change sometimes requires. Change might begin within. You might feel different, but this is the beginning of a process. And how daunting that work might be might start to show up for us before the week is out. And so, I like to say, pace yourself and be yourself, especially at this time. Yes, transformation, meaningful change can happen in an instant. But what can also happen is, along with that change, you realize that that change was a long time coming and that there are deeper layers yet to transform, yet to become something more. And that is just part of the unfolding of a lifetime of karmic healing, but also experiencing massive karmic blessings as well. In the middle of the week, Venus will meet the North Node in the sky. And as we get to the very end of the week, this is where Mercury starts to slow down to a standstill, going direct next week, while hand in hand with the North Node in the sky. This is huge. Remember, the nodes are so important where it comes to an understanding of what a higher, more loving vision for your life might be. a path of greater love and greater wisdom opening up to us. And the North Node in particular being activated is a doorway opening from which new people, places, things, situations enter, which represent karmic blessings. It's not always obvious right away that a seed has been planted, but it is going to be, as you look back, certainly in the weeks to come, in the months to come, that you realize it is now that powerful beginnings took place. It is going to be at the very end of the week that Mercury slowing down to a standstill is going to be where Mercury was right around the 19th of March. So we're looking at from the 19, 20, 21, 22, those particular days, whatever is happening as we get to the very end of this week, and even stepping into next week as well, is going to evoke the energy of that time. We might, in an instant as well, because that's the dominant energy late in the week. The best stuff comes out of nowhere. The best realizations happen in an instant. Well, we just might realize and see what took place for us right around the middle of March differently in some way now. Venus moving over the North Node midweek does suggest that whatever's happening in our life and everything that we're feeling is part of opening us to greater love and greater wisdom, but also those karmic blessings promised whenever it is that a planet moves over the North Node in the sky. Whether it's the transiting North Node or your natal North Node, if you are a student of astrology, that doorway opens wide and the new comes in, pulling you forward towards better and towards more than you knew before. What I love about this week for us, there's so much here. It is a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. Well, I think it's all about the conjunction late in the week of Jupiter and Uranus, a moment that many an astrologer has been looking forward to, has known is coming, has felt a sense of possibility, and it is a big moment as part of the decade. And I don't say that lightly. In fact, I do think it was back in like 2018 or 2019, I made a decade ahead video. I'll link to it below. But in that video, I believe I mentioned this conjunction. That's how big a deal it is. And I did speak about the conjunctions to the North Node and Jupiter conjunct Uranus for each sign in the monthly horoscopes here on my YouTube channel, and also with a special video I recently posted as well. So you may want to review those as well. But for all that, understand that for us individually and for the collective, it's a chance to move forward towards a future that is a lot more hopeful, that is a lot more engaging. As I'm recording this, there are some scary things happening in the world, and my heart goes out to all those places in the world right now where there is heightened suffering taking place. The kind that has people feeling genuinely afraid. But when I see this particular sky, I am hopeful. I'm a hopeful person in general, but I do think that the sextile of Mars to this conjunction ends up being tremendously empowering. And the breakthrough energy of this time could mean that we're able to see places in the world very quickly resolve certain conflicts to move forward. Now, a part of that motivation might be economic. There might be improvements or new understandings as to how there can be a greater sense of possibility on that front. But that may not entirely be the case. It is also possible now that there's hopeful news on the horizon that we feel within, that restores some hope, some sense of humanity. That is my highest wish for this time, for us to see that in the collective. And where it is that perhaps it feels difficult to see that in the collective, well, my hope is that at the very least we're able to see that within ourselves, that each of us is moving towards a future that is more fortunate, more healed, more blessed, a future that holds in it promise that things can change very quickly in a way that leaves us truly inspired. Thank you so much for watching. What do you love about this week? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading you guys, and to prove it to you, here's some of my most recent favorite comments. Thank you to everybody who likes and who comments, who subscribes, who shares. All of it really does help this video get in front of more people as an option here on YouTube, and you participating in that, it just means so much to me. So thank you so much for that. And of course, if you want to know how all this wonderful stuff this week speaks to you in your sign, log on to NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expanded exclusive video scopes each and every week for as low as just $3 a month with choose your membership rate. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. Synchronicity University has a truly incredible May 2024 season coming up. We are jam-packed with legends and future stars and so much learning and so much fun. Promise to up your astrology game. I think we really are going to enjoy ourselves, and you've got about 2 weeks left to choose your tuition rate as we start this week. As low as just $5 a class, an unheard of rate to learn from these astrologers. I'm going to start with my own class. This is the Definitive Relationship course. It is a 5-week course where I teach you a lot of things that I have learned about relationships in the last few years, yes, but also as part of my larger career as well, being a full-time astrologer now for over 17 years. And thank you for being a part of that. But yeah, love is one of those big things that brings people to astrology. And this is the course that is going to help you to understand when love is going to come, when it's going to show up, when it might fall apart, what you need in love, what your unique attraction factor is. And it's also about synastry charts. It's also about composite charts as well. So we are going to be looking at relationships from all kinds of places. As it comes, trying to figure out when you have it, try to figure out what's going on. And then, of course, when it is that it may come to pass, which is a part of love as well, especially in the modern world. We're going to look at all of it. So you've got just a limited time left to choose your tuition rate, just 2 weeks left as we start this week, as low as just $5 a class. This is the time to get the jump on. This is the time to sign up now at synchronicityuniversity.com. Links are in the description below, and I look forward to seeing you in class. Synchronicity University presents the one and only Alo Lopez. I am so excited about having him at Synchronicity University teaching midpoints, harmonics, and aspects. He's the perfect person to teach this course. He is on the Faculty of Astrological Studies, one of the most respected schools of astrology on the planet. Well, he teaches there. So I know you're going to learn a lot. And it is a very popular set of topics that he's going to be bringing to Synchronicity University. Of course, you've got about 2 weeks left as this week begins to choose your tuition rate, as low as just $5 a class, which really is an unheard of rate to learn from Alo Lopez. So midpoints, how to use them, how to integrate them into your practice, how powerful they are in prediction. Harmonics, which is a powerful tool as well to understand the different needs that you might have and what charts show up there. And also aspects. So he moves beyond just the Ptolemaic aspects to look at aspects that a lot of people have been asking to learn more about, like the quintile and the biquintile and others as well. So you can see here, super popular topics, incredible in understanding prediction and so much more, understanding yourself and so much more, taught by the one and only Alo Lopez. He is a master astrologer and a proficient teacher. This is a course you should check out. And you can learn more about that and sign up now at synchronicityuniversity.com. You've got a limited time left to choose your tuition rate, as low as just $5 a class. Links are in the description below. Synchronicity University is proud to present an encore presentation and live Q&A by one of the great living legends in astrology today. This is huge. It is the one and only Michael Luton. Michael Luton is a legend for a reason. He is such a brilliant astrologer. And I can promise you that with this pack of lessons, you will learn something that ups your astrology game. And so it was 2 years ago that Synchronicity University is proud to present the encore of the one and only Michael Luton, his incredible class on his favorite techniques and prediction methods. Well, he taught that class 2 years ago, and now for a very limited time, he is making those recordings available to students at Synchronicity University for as low as just $5 a class, an unheard of rate to learn from the one and only Michael Luton. But when you get this package, not only do you get that, you also get the chance to join the bonus live presentation of Michael Luton and I. We're going to do a live Q&A based on your questions that come about as a result of watching these lessons. And what I can promise you is if you go through these lessons, you will learn something that makes you a better astrologer. I know that for me, every time I speak to Michael Luton on camera and every time I've taken one of his workshops, and I'll tell you, he is one of the only astrologers that I continue to pay to learn from in a live setting, in workshop settings, because he's that good and because I know I'm going to learn something that's going to make me better as a result of what he teaches. And so when I look at when Michael Luton first taught this course at Synchronicity University, we were in the height of the pandemic, and this was really his first time teaching on the Zoom platform. It was nerve-wracking to him, and you're going to see some of that. I do want to be straightforward with you, but still, boy, are you going to learn a lot. There are these moments that he has that I think are going to give a lot of us those insights, those flashbacks to what it was like during those early months of the pandemic. But also, he managed to teach so much. Now, the last two classes I actually facilitate, so you're going to see me there on screen with him as well for those last two classes. But yes, Michael Luton, it is his brilliance on full display. And I think you're going to have a lot of fun going through these recordings that you get to keep forever and learn from infinitely. And of course, like I said, access to the live Q&A as well. That is very special. So check out all you're going to learn with this incredible course taught by one of our living legends, the one and only Michael Luton. This is the time to sign up now, as low as just $5 a class. This is the only place on the planet that you are going to learn from Michael Luton for as low as just $5 a class at synchronicityuniversity.com. Links are in the description below. Synchronicity University has an absolutely incredible May 2024 speaker series coming up, and you've got just a couple weeks left to choose your tuition rate, as low as just $5 a class, an unheard of rate to learn from this caliber of astrologer. Now, you might know if you've joined us at Synchronicity University speaker series before, what I really like to do is I try to get like one big dog and put them on the metaphorical stage with other future superstars in astrology, people who might be in different places in their career, but they're moving towards that big dog status. And boy, do we ever have a big dog joining us for the May 2024 speaker series. And it is the one and only Gemini Brett. There is no one out there who presents astrology quite like Gemini Brett. He has a way of teaching what he calls embodied astronomy. He wants you to know the literal sky as part of you being a better astrologer. He wants you to understand your intimate connection with the visual sky, what's actually happening celestially, as part of you understanding what's happening with you here on Earth now. He wants you to have the experience of the love of the universe and the love of the cosmos. That's why I think what he does is so special. It is so important and it is so beautiful as well. It is the one and only Gemini Brett who speaks and teaches in a manner so poetic that you will not forget it. That is something I can promise you. And yeah, he's going to be part of the May 2024 speaker series, and he's going to be teaching on the void of course moon. This is a widely requested topic. And so his topic, amazing. And the fact that you get to learn from him for as low as just $5 a class, and it's him, it's Gemini Brett, well, this is something absolutely to look forward to. I mentioned Jesse Innocent earlier. It is Jesse who is going to be teaching on understanding the art and the science of astrology, but really he's presenting karmic astrology and helping you to understand how karma plays out in the chart and how it is that you can actually work with it, resolve it, engage your spiritual learning and your spiritual lessons so that you are better, so that you are more as you move through this lifetime. I love the perspective he brings. Timon Harwood is going to be teaching on the triplicity of the earth signs. This is a talk that he brought to the Canadian Astrology Conference. You have seen him on my channel before, and now it is that he's coming to Synchronicity University with this topic, helping you to understand earth energy in your chart. Marcia Ferrienza is going to be teaching about Chiron in astrology. Now, Marcia is someone who is famous in Brazil. She is brilliant. She has taught the best, and she's been an American citizen for a really long time. She has this growing audience around the world, and she is the perfect person to be teaching at Synchronicity University, but particularly Chiron in astrology, considering that last week we had that eclipse conjunct Chiron. I think that this class is going to help a lot of people to further integrate some of the powerful learnings that are taking place for so many of us now. And Shelley Stearns is helping us to understand the second house in the astrology chart. That's the part of the sky that has to do with money you earn, money you spend, self-love, self-esteem. And yeah, she's going to help you to understand how it is that you can tap into the power of prosperity as you uniquely define it, and so much more by understanding your second house. So you can see we have an incredible May 2024 speaker series coming up. You have a very limited time left to choose your tuition rate, as low as just $5 a class. An unheard of rate to learn from this caliber of astrologer. Join us live. You get the download if you can't make it live. All of this learning available to you now. Links are in the description below. And thank you. Thank you so much for this moment with you. Thank you for your trust. I'm so grateful for it. And thank you for staying to the very end. I know that some of you do, and boy, do I ever appreciate you. So thank you for that. And I'm very hopeful about this week. As I was recording this, as I mentioned earlier, there were some developments taking place on the world stage that felt uncertain, that felt scary. And I know that there is uncertainty in different parts of the planet right now. I'm hoping for a breakthrough, and I'm hoping for realizations that happen personally, but also a sense of us understanding what authentic courage looks like. Not just the performance of courage, but to be wise with the courage that we show. And also a sense of quickly moving into a more hopeful sense of circumstances, a more hopeful sense of how healing is possible, how it is that things can get better very quickly. And hopefully we experience that on the world stage, but if not, then at least in our own lives in one way or another. This time is powerful. It is karmic as well, with that conjunction of Venus to the North Node. Use the energy as consciously as possible. Be out and about. Strive to connect with new people. Be open to new experiences, because within that, you just might find yourself welcoming some person, place, thing, situation, some blessing that, whether or not it's meant to hang around for a while, will be part of helping you move your life towards more, and in a more meta sense, towards greater love and greater wisdom as well. Well, thank you again for watching. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.